Hormones, hypnotherapy, like where do those two worlds meet?
If we have this deep-rooted sense of unworthiness, or we've been people-pleasing or masking ourselves and contorting our energy to serve everyone else outside of us, that is rooted in our beliefs about ourselves, who we think we are, what we're capable of, that lack of self-trust, lack of self-worth, lack of self-confidence. All of that is rooted within the subconscious. There was a study that was done that compared traditional talk therapy with hypnotherapy. What patients saw with traditional talk therapy was a 38% improvement with 600 sessions, whereas with hypnotherapy, patients were seeing a 93% improvement with just 6 sessions. It's not normal to feel fatigued constantly. It's not normal to have insomnia or 3 p.m. crash and burns, migraines, missing irregular periods, tender breasts, PMS, skin issues, acne, rosacea. Like all of these are also signs of hormonal issues. Suppressed feminine is actually one of the root causes of all the symptoms.
Hi, everyone. This is Helena, and welcome to the Where Boundaries to Selves podcast, the place to become more self-expressed and healed, because I believe that the more healed and expressed that we are, the more we can tap into our divinity, allowing ourselves to live, love, lead from a place of deep authenticity and purpose, because that's when we can make this world a better place. I love bringing the most inspiring guests onto the show that we can learn from, who can share their wisdom and their knowledge with us. And so today we are joined by a ray of sunshine who will hype you up, guide you through your healing journey with encouragement and knowledge. She will literally shift your entire world by helping you see how to open doors you never knew existed, because that's what healers do. However, our guest, Brit, brings a lens to healing that I think we don't really often get the chance to interact with. She talks about something that as women, we have spent, and as a collective, way too little time understanding, which is our bodies, our hormones, our flow, and how all of that ties into our power and our confidence and our unfolding. Brit is a holistic hormone practitioner, a mental and menstrual health coach who educates freedom-seeking sisters on how to come home to their worthiness, power, and feminine consciousness through high-level hypnotherapy, energetic strategies, and ancient lunar wisdom. You'll learn how healing your hormones can be key to your own unfolding. We'll get into Brit's life story. There's also been some questions on Instagram regarding how to rewire your subconscious to become super magnetic. You'll also learn how hypnotherapy works and why it can accelerate your healing way faster than traditional talk therapy. And also stay until the end, because we are going to drop into an amazing hypnosis session specifically designed for you to tap into your magnetism. Brit, thank you so much for being here today.
Oh my gosh, it's an honor, and I'm just so excited. I feel like we're having a little party today.
We are having a party. We're celebrating female consciousness, female power, all of that good stuff. I was reading it, and every time I read it, I'm just like, oh, it sounds so good. It's like,
Yeah, it's
this
like,
is
what's
the
better
medicine.
than
I'd love to do a little check-in just to connect to what wants to emerge with regards to your calling as a healer. I will pull a card and see whatever. I'm going to shuffle these tarot cards.
I love that you're doing this. My
Let's
witchy
see what wants
sister.
to. Yeah. Let's see what wants to emerge. Okay. Two of Wands.
Tell me, talk to me.
So the Two of Wands, I'm going to pull it up. This one.
She looks gorgeous, and I love, is she wearing pink or purple?
She's wearing purple.
Okay.
She's in front of a body of water. She's holding kind of like her wand. She's walking towards something. She has an overview. The Two of Wands has to do with planning, first steps, making decisions, leaving comfort, and taking
Well, here we are
risks.
doing a podcast. Oh, yeah. Heck yeah. I love that. Thank you so much.
So, the affirmation for this in your career is planning your career, envisioning your dreams, and taking some risk to get there.
I'll say one, it's probably like an overarching thing in what I do with my clients, like in my one on ones, is because I had to take so much risk to leave corporate and follow my dreams and become a hypnotherapist. I remember telling people that I was going to do that. We kind of talked about it with my therapist. She was even like, Brit, like, I don't see you like telling people 10, you're getting sleepy, you know? And I'm so glad I didn't listen to that because I feel like when you have a calling, listening to those whispers, it's super important to not listen to anything outside of you. And just, I feel like, you know, planning, taking risks, like it's probably like a theme of the work that I do and what I'm helping people become aware of what their passions are and waking up to it and building up that worthiness and confidence in order for them to also take that leap themselves. A lot of my clients are shifting out of corporate and I call it like a pivot or a reinvention. Everyone deserves to know that they can reinvent their lives at any freaking time, any stage, and it doesn't have to be this huge thing. It can be small things. So I think everyone's plan of how they pivot is going to look different.
We did have an initial conversation. For those of you listening, of course, we were connecting and talking about doing an episode together, and we both have a background in corporate. And that's so interesting that, of course, your story will then, you healing through that. I truly believe that every time we heal through something, it gives us the gift, and the gift is the medicine to help others go through the exact same thing.
100%. Exactly. It's like we're building these like life rafts kind of thing. We're like swimming in these waters. We build up our life raft enough to be like, okay, I got you, girl. Now you're going to come this way, and then you're going to build your life raft, and then you're going to offer in hand. And so it's like we're constantly all helping each other swimming in these weird waters that we're in right now, alchemizing our pain into our purpose and just being able to be of service.
Wow.
It's the best.
It's it's the best, and it's the hardest. Let's dive into
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
I'm sure people are just like asking themselves like, okay, but like am I going through the same thing as you are? You work with women with low feminine consciousness. Like, how did this show up for you first? What were you facing? Let's dive into your story so people can maybe connect the dots.
Totally. Yeah. So I had been, working in corporate for 10 years and specifically in social media. So, like, hello, poor mental health. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just
Oh my God.
constant grind. I think someone I work with said, like, social media never sleeps. And like that belief went in my brain. And like I was suffering from insomnia. I had chronic stress. I was even like missing my periods. Like I would only get 3 periods a year. Couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. I had pain down the whole left side of my body. And so when I went to the
Wow.
doctors, they couldn't really quite figure it out. We did all the blood work, the x rays, the MRIs, went to physical therapy, read all the self help books, did all the like spiritual podcasts and whole medicine cabinet of supplements, and nothing really seemed to work. And I figured out through my own healing and growing that like the left side of your body is you're feminine. All of these symptoms were hormonal,
Interesting.
which it's like I just didn't know how to unlock the language of my body. Like it was trying to communicate all these things, but I just didn't know how to listen. I think there was even a time like when I like created like a 4-hour morning ritual. Have you ever done that where you're just like,
Oh my
okay,
God.
I gotta make sure I meditate. I'm like taking all my supplements. I have
Yeah.
like, 10 cocktails of supplements. Like my roommates would be like, Brett, you and the liquids need to lay off. And then I would start work and I was stressed out 5 minutes later. So I was just like, what do I have to do? What's gotta give? And my doctor, she told me that so the missing periods thing, that was actually, I found out it had a name and it's called hypothalamic amenorrhea. So that was like kind of encouraging, but she had also told me that I would likely not be able to have children. And I was only 30 at the
Oh,
time. So I was
wow.
like, is this how it ends? Like, this can't be it. Like, that was kind of my, like, we all have that I'm done moment. And that was it for me. It was like, I'm done feeling like shit. I'm done not getting sleep. I'm done, like, not understanding what's going on in my body. Um, and so I actually started with the sleep, and it was hypnosis was like the last thing. It was like kind of my last resort. And I started to use recordings just to help me fall asleep. And because I couldn't turn my thoughts off after a days of work, like of constantly being on the computer or on my phone, social media, like I just couldn't turn my brain off. And so hypnosis, I was like, what the heck? Like it was the first time I could like hear my own real voice, not all the like stuff outside of me and distraction and confusion. Like it was just like, ooh, I'm relaxing. I didn't realize I didn't know how to relax. I was
That's
just so like in that habit of stress, so dysregulated, so overstimulated. And then I started to realize, oh, there's recordings for stress relief. There's recordings for confidence. There's recordings for like public speaking. And it just completely changed my life. And I realized that you can kind of apply it to everything. And so I remember I was listening to a recording on a hike. It was a cloudy day. And I brought my oracle cards with me. And I was, because, like you're searching for answers, man. You're trying to
oh
like,
my God.
you're like, what the
Everything.
heck? Like, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like laying them all out, listening to my recording. And I just remember like looking out and being like, I'm going to get certified as a hypnotherapist. And I just remember following my heart. And yeah, I'm just so freaking glad I did, because I never knew there was a job that could give you energy. It is possible, y'all. Like you can be happy and a job can give you energy. That blew
Mhm.
my mind because I had never experienced that.
There's so many things that I can connect with. Like, I think so inherently, this lack of worthiness, right, will drive us into overextension where we just are
Mm,
so desperate for external feedback, external knowledge, like external validation.
yes.
And
Mhm.
so a simple thing of like someone saying, social media never sleeps, like we literally will take that and run with. For
Even if
me,
we
it's
don't
like,
want it, we're like, "Okay, this is true." Like,
yeah, exactly. And then for me, I take it a step further. Like my mom would say, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. And then I was like, all right, like this is, I'm going
yeah,
to show everybody what I'm made of because I feel so fragile inside. I'm going to give
yeah,
extra the amount because I feel like that's what resilience is, or that's what, an ambitious girl is or woman.
yes.
Like you just have to man
Keep going.
up,
Yeah,
keep
put your big girl
going.
pants on. Yeah, man up, damn.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Which is like, okay, it completely in a system that completely disregards how we function. Like this book came out
yeah.
called
Oh,
Eve, you're
yeah.
probably familiar with it. And I'm reading it, but it's like the introduction was so triggering because I was like, wow, we literally have no clue how female bodies work, how
Yeah,
medicine
yeah.
affects us, how stress affects us. It's so crazy. If we don't build that awareness within ourselves, I feel like we just we
Fun.
just will
And
burn out.
the crazy thing that I learned too, it's like, yes, now I feel like I've done so much study and work, and I've track my cycle every day, and not just like when I bleed or ovulate. Like I track like how am I feeling, my meditation practice, my movement practice, my intentions. Like I create intentions for each phase of my cycle, and like I
Wow.
observe after each phase. I'm like, what did I notice in this phase? But the thing is, it's like there's still not medical research. Like it's so um not taboo, but it's just like a undiscovered landscape, because they
Mhm,
won't go there
mhm.
because they think that women's hormones are like too confusing because it fluctuates over the course of a month. Men's hormones run on a 24-hour cycle. So it's like very consistent. And so a lot of the trends that we see, the diet trends, the fasting, the intermittent fasting, the whatever it is, it's all based on like from a
And
men's perspective. We don't know if it's actually something that's good for us. We don't know because they don't do any of like the medical studies.
We're taking on all this
Yeah.
advice that is not meant for us, and then it just worsens our situation, and we think we're
Yeah.
to blame.
And that's why I'm super excited to just dive into what a hypnosis can actually feel like in your own body, so you can like sense of like, oh, does this feel right for me? Is it really this weird mind control thing that it's been made out to be? Like, you can see for yourself. Because it's really, to me, is just relaxation and like transformation through relaxation. There's nothing more powerful in this world than a relaxed woman. Like,
Oof.
nothing.
Oh, I
I
yeah,
know, I
100%.
know. Yeah, yeah.
I
So,
like we'll dive into that in a moment. I do think that there would be one question that people are asking themselves when we're stressed out, when we're burnt out. How do we know that it's hormonal like it's related to our hormones? Like, or is stress immediately affect our hormones? Like, which is like the chicken and the egg. Like, how would like I started off with at a really broad level. I said, root cause low feminine
oh yeah.
consciousness. Like,
Yeah, I would love to address that too. But
is
let's
that
talk
just
about
like
the hormones first. Hormones are kind of, it's wild because it's your endocrine system. It's a system of our body. It's like when you hear mind body connection, that's what your endocrine system is. And so you can think of your hormones as this like chemical language between your mind and your body. So it's really everything. It like affects our mood, our energy, our thinking. Like, I don't know if I said this already, but like our cycle can change our brain chemistry up to 25% over the course of 1 month. And
what?
so, yeah, yes. And so, and if you think of your cycle, it's related to the moon. There's 4 phases of the moon, there's 4 phases of your cycle. It's all like this feminine nature. That's how it works. Within those 4 phases, your hormones are constantly fluctuating. The 4 phases are like the 4 seasons of the year. So
Hmm.
when you think about it, if we are going through, winter, spring, summer, fall, every single month, like think about how the energy is very different from winter to spring to summer, like every single month. Like that's so much change in 1 month. And when we don't know how to honor, like when we're coming into spring and summer, this is when our energy is rising. And so we get to shine, the light's coming back. People are outside and playing and communicating and having fun and celebrating. And then fall, all the leaves start to like, fall, it starts to get colder. People go inside, you're alone. And so it's like we need to honor our cycle in that same way as the seasons. And you can think about it through your seasons. Like, how do you act in winter as opposed to summer? From a stress perspective, that's related to cortisol. If you're stressed in a chronic state of stress, like some stress is good, but if you're in a chronic state of stress, your cortisol, your adrenals are like pumping out all that cortisol. Our sweet baby adrenals are just tired. And so, like, think of all the things that, like, the cascade of hormones that start to, like, if one thing's off, everything's off. And that's what can send us
Hmm.
into that like burnout. And so the chicken or the egg, I'm not really sure, but I guess it's the how you're doing it, what you're experiencing, and if you are stressed, because everyone responds to different situations. Like I could be full on panic attack right now and you could be good, but we're doing the same thing. So it's like what you're experiencing and how your system is like patterned. Some of the signs are, it's not normal to feel fatigued constantly. It's not normal to have insomnia or 3 p.m. crashes, crash and burns. Like we are meant to be here as like vibrant souls, like loving, playing, exploring. Like that is what life is meant to be. It's supposed to be ease and light. If we're not experiencing that, like it might be common, but it's not normal. That's what I'll say.
If we truly have this notion of we incarnate to become, right? To become
Yeah.
like there's this common quote of like when you enter, when you're at the gates of heaven, God is not going to
Mm.
ask you, did you become Jesus? He's going to ask you, did you become Brit? Like, did you become,
Yeah.
did you be
I
that best
love that.
version? You're not a shitty second version of somebody else. And the only, like, literally, whenever I'm connected to the best version of myself that I feel when I feel so empowered and good and
Mm,
I'm attracting opportunities is when I'm excited and I'm
yeah.
happy and it's like this divine play. And it's just like, oh, I want that. And next thing you know, like all the doors open and there's just this strong, energetic pull,
Mm,
where it's not
yes.
my brain is not like, oh, what's all the uncertainty? What are all the risks?
Yeah,
But it's just
I
like,
know.
okay, let me dive and let me, ride the waves, but I'm excited.
Yeah.
Like everything is just so in sync. And it is truly when I'm not stressed out. And so,
Yes.
adding on to what you're saying, maybe I asked the wrong question with the chicken or the egg, because I think, as you said so nicely, like life will be stressful. There's some good stress and some bad stress. It's just like, where is it meeting us at? Like, what is our system doing? How is it responding? And if we don't have that
Yes.
awareness of like, oh, we're literally, I don't know what the phase is called. I'm not an expert like you, but like right before you bleed, right before you go on your period, like
Luteal.
luteal. I'm just like
Yes.
sleeping 9 hours a day. Like
Yes.
if I'm packing in everything into my calendar, like
Yeah,
then it's
luteal,
gonna,
I call luteal's like your inner fall, and so I always say it's witch season, watch out. Witchy in like a good way, but like that's when we're
mhm.
sassy. That's also when a lot of people can experience PMS symptoms. And PMS is also common but not normal. So like that's another sign. If you get like super heavy cramps and are just like debilitating, like that is not normal. That was a major aha for me because I used to get like migraines and just like it felt like someone was like taking a scissor to my insides for the last year or so. Like I have not had a painful period. When you follow the steps and like you know how to work with like an endocrine healing methodology, which is inside Hormone Hype Collective, you're honoring your mind and your body mind. It is one connected thing. I did want to touch on I think you framed it like talk to me about the root causes of low feminine consciousness and worthiness and power. And I kind of want to flip that on its head because I feel like the suppressed feminine consciousness, energy, whatever, is actually one of the root causes of all the symptoms that
Oof,
we are experiencing.
wow,
Um,
mind
yeah.
blown.
And like I said, that like insomnia, chronic stress, fatigue, weight gain, especially around the belly, that's related to cortisol. Migraines, missing irregular periods, tender breasts, PMS, those 3 p.m. slumps, skin issues, acne, rosacea, like all of these are also signs of like hormonal issues. And so we need to learn the language of our body, right? Like it's constantly communicating with us, it's giving us signs and signals, and we need to understand that. And if we weren't given that language, if we were never taught that language about how our hormones fluctuate throughout our cycle, how can we advocate for ourselves? How can we ask ourselves the right questions? And so then you're left thinking, "Oh, well I'm lazy, I'm crazy, I'm depressed." And when you look at our conditioning, like why is there a suppressed feminine? We look at like look what was shown to us when we were little, the Disney movies or just like any movie in general, men are always the main characters. They were not until recently, and we saw like men are strong and men are successful. And so I think a lot of us suppressed or betrayed our feminine, like we had to take on those masculine qualities in order to just be taken seriously, to be independent boss babes, which that just leaves us like burnt out because that is not how our feminine biology works. It's not. How can we feel worthy or powerful when we're not living in tune and in sync with our body? And our menstrual cycle, like that's our internal timekeeper. So, what's really happening here is we are living in a system that's according to someone else's time, aka masculine time, the 24-hour cycle. That is how men's hormones work. So, it's
Oh my
related to the
God.
sun. The sun is masculine. And that's why they can wake up, perform, produce, hustle every single day, day in, day out. That's like how their
Wow.
corporate was basically designed with their hormones in mind. And so if
Wow.
you're trying to squeeze our hormones into that cycle, like we're running so fast that like we can't keep up because that's just not how our rhythms work. And that rhythm is called your infradian rhythm. And then the 24-hour cycle is your circadian rhythm. So a lot of people know your circadian sleep and wake cycles.
Mhm.
That's the sun. So the moon, that 28-ish day cycle, is called your infradian rhythm. Yay.
Wow, so much like so much knowledge. Like even that, which are literally the basics, I had no clue. And I'm just
Yeah, I didn't
thinking,
either.
no wonder, like, as literally in a call with the global head of HR in the company I was working for, and he was like, the stats are just like blowing my mind. Like, after 30 years old, women just drop out of the workforce. And,
Yeah,
you know, I was just like, yeah, like that's
it's
when
wild.
women start having kids. They start to know their bodies. They start to connect with a deeper purpose. And they start to be like, oh, actually, this not
Yeah.
working or this having my own way of doing things feels amazing.
This feels
And you know,
good.
I used
Yeah.
to tell myself, oh, well, I'm not a lazy woman. Like I'm gonna like do
Yep.
it anyway and I'm gonna do it all, you know? And then I did that during my master studies and I nearly burnt myself out. And I had like a little crisis because I was just like, I can't be treating myself like this. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's like this
Yeah.
whole thing, like you were said that suppressed feminine where we constantly feel like we're not good enough and we have to like live up to the standards of man. And the standards
Yeah.
of man is be pretty. And so if you want to be anything else above that goes beyond pretty, you're going to work twice as hard to convince me even just a little remotely. Like it's so,
It's warped. It's
ugh,
warped. And then
so
when you think
bad.
about that, if the main thing is for us, for our physical material existence to be pretty, like to be seen, not heard, like all those things
Mhm.
that we were told, our parents were told, that really reduces us down. And it blows my mind because that's also a masculine thing. To be in the material physical is masculine. And if you go a layer deeper to the subtle body, which is your energy, like the subtle body is knowing you're feminine and knowing your energy. And so like that's like the through line in all of my work that I saw, like the conscious thinking mind, like us talking right now or working on the computer, that is also masculine. The conscious mind is masculine. What we see, like what's in our physical world, and then the things we can't see when we go inwards and we relax and we get into our feeling mind, that's our feminine. When I started getting certified in Meridian Yin yoga, yin is like the slower practice. So you hold the poses a little bit longer, you go deeper into that subtle body, which was feminine. And so it's like
Mm.
everything that I was learning or the things that I were interested in, I didn't realize was because it was the feminine. That is what I was missing. That was like the key to me coming home to myself. So I feel like that suppressed feminine, that is like the root cause of everything else that we're experiencing.
In many ways, that feminine is connected to like slowness, patience, and a lot of discipline because you need to get into it and hold it. Transformation through hormones and just like rewiring yourself is also just like a process. Like it's an unfolding.
Yeah, it's exactly.
So let's reconnect to where the audience may be right now. Hyper stressed out at work. We feel like we're not worthy. We feel suppressed. We may not even know that we're suppressed, but we're coming to the awareness that it may have to do with us being disconnected from our bodies because we have never been taught that our bodies are different and operating in this masculine oriented space. Hormones, hypnotherapy, like where do those two worlds meet? Why do you think that hypnotherapy
Mm.
is the key to the hormonal feminine healing journey?
We can't heal unless we love ourselves. I truly believe that. If we have this sense, deep rooted sense of unworthiness, or we've been people pleasing or masking ourselves and contorting our energy to serve everyone else outside of us, like that is rooted in our beliefs about ourselves, who we think we are, what we're capable of. And, you know, that lack of self trust, lack of self worth, lack of self confidence, all of that is like rooted within the subconscious. We can only upgrade those beliefs. I won't say only because there's other modalities, but to me, hypnotherapy was like one of the most powerful and potent. You get to relax and go inwards. That's why I also included a guided hypnosis meditation in every single lesson inside Hormone Hype Collective, because it's not only about like learning the education, like that is so important. There's education there, but also I need to learn how to like rewire these beliefs and create new neural pathways. So essentially, hypnosis kind of is like, okay, we are going to put up some orange cones here. We're no longer going down this way of thinking that my body is the problem, that something is wrong with me, that I'm not worthy of health and happiness. And we're going to start paving a new road. And we're going to like freaking shovel all the shit out. We're going to put the gravel down. We're going to lay the asphalt. We're going to make this into a really nice road that's going to turn into like a 3-lane highway. And we are going to be cruising and we're going to be hyping ourselves up, listening to our favorite song and loving our bodies. That's where we're going. That's like what we're doing in hypnosis and where they connect, because when we relax into that theta state, that's where our beliefs, habits, emotional responses, creativity, imagination, all of that is stored there. When we relax, we can access it. And that's when we start to do the change work. A lot of the hormone stuff is related to our lifestyle, our habits, our daily habits, what we're doing, how we're eating, how we're moving our bodies, what we're putting into and onto our bodies, how we're managing our stress, and cleansing our selves from toxicity and excess hormones and unleashing our feminine. It's all the subconscious. And so it's one thing to learn everything, but then to like embody it and like really ingrain it in your system, because that's what it really takes, is that repetition to create a new path.
So let me give that back to you to see if I got it. We're stressed out, and when it may be a hormonal issue, it's going to take time to create those new neural pathways that allow us to really make those new habits very sticky. And the fastest way to accelerate that and to create those new neural pathways is through hypnotherapy, because when we drop into hypnosis, we are relaxed and we can shift out of the beta brainwave, right, which is our thinking, and we go
Yep.
into the theta, which is like where we can access our subconscious, and we can only rewire and actually create change in our brains. So this is the psychology of change, create change
Yep.
in our brains
Nailing
if
it.
we're in that theta space. So,
Yes. So there was a study that was done that compared traditional talk therapy with hypnotherapy. And I feel like this illustrates why it's more effective or how it's more effective. In traditional talk therapy, you are just using your conscious mind, right? You're talking about what's going on, what's challenging you. You're kind of reaffirming what those challenges are. So that's like just kind of reaffirming those like negative pathways that you have, but it's
right.
not giving you an opportunity to like create a new one. And so what patients saw with traditional talk therapy was a 38% improvement with 600 sessions. Whereas with hypnotherapy, patients were seeing a 93% improvement with just 6 sessions.
Oh my God.
Yes. So it's like 100 times more effective, 100 times faster. And that tells me something very powerful is happening at the level of the subconscious. When you relax, you are entering that flow state, right? Like the alpha and theta brainwaves. I think alpha is like 7 to 8 hertz and theta is 8 to 12 hertz. And so you are relaxing to open yourself like that flower to new perspective, new suggestions, new affirmations, and they're just going to be built in your mind at a much thicker and faster rate than if you were just in the conscious state. One other fun fact that I'll say about hypnotherapy is that over 3,000 years ago in the ancient Egypt papyrus, I think it's called the Ebers papyrus, which is their medical document of herbal knowledge from like 1550 BC. We know that they actually used hypnosis in their holistic healing centers. and they called them like sleep temples or dream temples. And they're kind of like these soothsayers. And I love to share that one because I nerd out about ancient Egypt. I have a little
Oh,
scarab tattoo,
yes.
but also because it shows that hypnosis has been used as a legit healing modality for thousands and thousands of years. And, usually something that sticks around that long tends to be effective. That's actually what my meditation teacher taught me. What I learned was hypnosis is really just meditation with a goal.
Wow. This is amazing. My mind is blown. I am going big on setting intentions. That's been like
Yes.
my thing in life. Like they help me understand the role that I want to take to achieve certain outcomes, like whether it's in a meeting in business where I'm like, okay, I'm holding the space for this, or no, here I'm like actively have a learner's mindset. I'm going to be messing up. Like it just sets the intention. It allows me to send energy a certain way.
Yes.
It also really grounds me in the moment. It allows me to feel and lead myself from a place of deeper empathy. But I'm currently in that space, my dark night of the soul, and
Hmm.
some letting go of something that a status, a role that I used to cherish very, very much. And
Hmm.
that's helping me create this new space capacity to welcome this new identity that is being born and birthed essentially. So that's what I've needed to feel empowered in the past. For women
Yes.
experiencing major life transitions, and you've mentioned working with women who are transitioning out of corporate,
Yep.
how do you think women can support themselves better besides getting help from a practitioner? Like I'm learning that that is really, really essential. Like you bring so much, you connect theory with practice and with support. And I think that that can really accelerate the journey out and through this major life transition. But what are some of the practices and rituals that you apply
Hmm.
on a daily basis that have changed your life?
Well, one, I love that you bring up intention because that is literally what starts to drive our entire experience. If we are weaving like a tapestry, like the intention is the thread, and that is what
Mm,
that's like where we're going. So intention is huge, because we're like unaware. We're lights on, we're home, and we are the conscious creators of our lives. So, one, remember that you are the conscious creator of your own life. And two, I would say slow down as much as possible. Whether that is literally scheduling in self care, like on a busy day, like I used to do this, I still do this, but my days are a little bit better paced now. But when I would have like a full stack of meetings, I would literally schedule in some self-care. Whatever that means to you, to me, like it is meditation, it is getting support or guidance with hypnotherapy or acupuncture, or a little bit deeper than like, just getting my nails done. But that is a beauty ritual as well. Or
love
even
it.
taking like a magnesium bath, like I love baths, bodies, any body of water, going out in nature, doing something creative, and allowing yourself to like be bad at something. I started learning how to, like, what is it? Is it sewing? I don't know. I guess it's sewing, weaving, some sort of weaving. And I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't like being bad at things. And I think that coming into your feminine is allowing yourself to do something creative just for the hell of it. Stop judging yourself, get out of your head, and just come at it with a sense of play. I think play and pleasure, those are two really good words to orient your life towards. For me, that's nature, just anything that brings you joy. Start accessing your joy. What are things that you love to do as a kid? I think what lights you up, let that lead you.
I love that so much. Like I literally I did a workshop on creativity last week before last. And they were basically explaining how just putting a blindfold on and letting yourself doodle, like that
Oh,
mere fact of
amazing.
kind of breaking a pattern and just allowing yourself to be creative to doodle in the moment, it accelerates. I don't remember the percentage or the stat behind it, but it accelerates your regeneration phase. And it's like we are
Love.
so much in the masculine, which the masculine, like, don't get me wrong, so needed, right? It's the structure that
Yeah, we just
allows
have this
us.
overgrowth.
Exactly, we really do, where we're
Yeah.
just like, it's always productivity, it's always fast, it's accelerated. It's like I was explained to the difference of masculine and feminine energy being in a sense of like masculine energy is like a match, and then the feminine energy is more like a ripple and a wave in
Mm,
water. It was
yeah.
explained to
Love
me
that.
with regards to an orgasm. So that's how orgasms.
Oh, I love this. Oh, that's another thing you can do, self-pleasure people. And fun
Ah,
fact that orgasms are actually a natural cortisol flush for the body. So do it for your stress,
interesting.
babes.
To
Tell
like
everyone I told you that.
the whole natural glowing up is what I like to call it. Like,
I love it. Yeah. Yeah. Coming back to that joy and playfulness and like curiosity, because I think also in the bedroom, like that masculine shows up, right? Like the performative aspects. And you're just like, oh God, like that's another thing that we were kind of just warped about, like things that were shown to us and all that. And so I think like just coming in with vulnerability of like, I actually just want to feel and I don't want to perform. And
oh
it's going
my
to be a new
God.
exploration of coming together. And even with yourself, even if you don't have a partner, even with yourself, is just like, just getting out of the mind and into the body and just
Oof.
feeling and being curious.
I love that. It's so crazy. My sex life has definitely like changed so much since I've been
Yeah,
going through this transformation because the intimacy with myself is changing. So,
absolutely. It's
I
becoming
got
more
married.
probably pure and raw and real,
Mhm.
authentic, and it's also, yeah, very vulnerable. I feel you on that, man. That's the
Super
work.
vulnerable. Yeah, it is the work. Like
Also, I
trying to
want to shout
expect
out.
normal.
Yeah, exactly. I want to shout out this new wand that I got. It's like a reflexology wand for your cervix.
I've yet to try
And
that. I've heard so many things.
it's I think it's by Self Cervix, which I
Mhm.
love that name. But yeah, I got that like a month ago and I call it temple time and I just like meditate with it and release some stuff. You'll feel things moving and it's so rad. Try that because we store so much shame and guilt and fear like in our hips. Just being able to like use that reflexology thing wand has been very empowering. I feel so much more grounded. Like, yeah,
Hmm.
give it a shot. Maybe we can like link it in some notes or something. I can send it to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I did a dance workshop, I think it's already 2 years ago, but a lot of the women at the dance workshop were talking about that wand and how it like absolutely changed their lives. Like they said as
Ooh!
well that there was so much trauma stored in your cervix and that
Yeah.
that's the only way that you can access it, that
Yeah.
wand.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Can't
Oof.
recommend it
Chills.
enough.
Before we drop in, our last guest left a journaling prompt for you.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
and the journaling prompt is as I follow my calling, what's something that I'm curious about and how am I allowing that part to unfold?
I love this. And as I was like reflecting on it, um I noticed that I was like starting to like, oh, like how I am in service of others and blah blah blah. And I was like, no, I get to like freaking hype myself up in what I'm really proud of. And I think that
Mm,
gives other people permission to hype themselves up because there is so much we can love about ourselves. And for me, it was that courage and resilience, like courage to go after my dreams, like pick up the call. The phone is ringing for everyone. Every soul is here. They have a calling, like the phone is ringing, but you have to actually have courage to pick it up. Because, like you said, it's not the easier route. It is going to be harder, but it's so much more rewarding. And to have resilience to keep going when you don't have all the clients, to keep going when you're not getting all the engagement, like just keep going, believing in yourself, believing in your dreams, and believing in the universe and, God, goddesses, whatever you believe in, ancestors, angels, like all of it, everyone, get everyone on your team and like start believing in that. And that's like what helps carry you and move you forward because you're not making it about yourself anymore. It's so much
Wow.
bigger. Our visions are like so much bigger than just us. Like there's a way bigger thing that's happening, you know? So yeah,
Mhm.
courage, resilience, silliness. I would say silliness.
Mhm.
Like I feel like I got a good balance of like serious and silly and spiritual and
I love that.
science.
It's been amazing so far. We have the last piece coming up, dropping in. The stage is yours. I'll let you work your magic.
Awesome.
Mm.
We're going to drop into a little hypnosis so that you can actually experience what it feels like and so that we can dial up your magnetism, which is also a form of receiving, which is also your feminine. So you can start seated or lying down, whichever you prefer. Just go ahead and get nice and comfortable. And whenever you're comfortable, go ahead and just close your eyes all the way down. And we'll start by taking a couple of nice, deep, letting go breaths together. Deep inhale. And exhale. Two more just like that. Letting go with any sighs or sounds. And now begin to bring your mind to one point at the entrance of your nostrils, allowing your breath to just rest in its natural state, never forcing, just allowing your breath to rest in its natural state. And by bringing your mind to this one point at the entrance of your nostrils, you are beginning to embody your own presence and increase your sense of awareness. Go ahead and allow your breath to just come as easy as it can now. As you relax the top of your head, relax your forehead, smoothing out any tension. Relax the tiny muscles next to your eyes. Relax your jaw, letting your jaw hang loose and slack. Relax your neck and throat. Relaxing your shoulders. Relaxing your arms all the way through to the fingertips. Relaxing your torso. Just breathing easily. Relax your hips. Relax your pelvis completely. sending some love to this powerful part that has created so much in your life. And relaxing your legs all the way out through the bottoms of your feet. And begin to imagine roots growing from beneath your body all the way down into the center of the earth. Feel those roots growing deeper and deeper. Grounding you. Feel that connection. Feel that support as you think to yourself, I am safe and I am supported. I am safe and I am supported. And I want you to begin to imagine that version of you who is magnetic as fuck, who is receiving and magnetizing all that she desires. Notice how she appears to you. Notice how she's breathing. Notice her posture. Notice how she moves and carries herself. Notice what she's wearing. Notice what she's doing. Notice how she's doing. Notice what this magnetic and alive version of you and your life looks and feels like with all of your senses. Make it feel so real right now in this present moment. Notice what changes for you when you are being your elevated and magnetic self. Notice what this version of you feels like. And know that you can access these feelings at any time. Repeating in your mind after me. the more I relax and slow down. The more magnetic I become. The more I relax and slow down, the more magnetic I become. The more I relax and slow down, the more magnetic I become. So go ahead, in your mind's eye, continue to see yourself becoming more and more magnetic. Feel yourself becoming a magnet for all of your wildest dreams and goals, magnetizing it more and more every breath. Allow yourself to receive it all now in this present moment. Take a big breath in, hold it at the top, receive it all in through your heart, anchor it there, knowing that it is placed in your heart for a reason and that it is already yours. And exhale. And with a smile on your face, whenever you're ready, you can gently open your eyes and just softly start looking around the room, reorienting yourself in this time, this space, remembering everything which is for your highest and greatest good.
Oh, that was amazing.
Yay.
That's so good. My heart feels so strong.
I love that. That's what we're doing, getting out of the mind and into the heart.
Wow, wow, wow.
Mm-hmm.
I will.
Thank you.
Thank you. This has been amazing. So much wisdom. Truly, you're just like, I
Hopefully
don't
it
know
all
how to
made sense.
put it. It makes so much sense. It makes so much sense, and I really truly believe that you hold that medicine like that we need so much as women. And so, thank you for doing all of this work. Thank you for like doing so much of the groundwork, because the more women are doing this kind of work, the easier it is for other women to join. They'll trust in it.
1,000%.
I will link all of your links below. Just send them over to
Perfect.
me so that people can find them, they can connect with you.
Amazing.
Wow, I can't wait to like work with you.
Yeah, I'm excited to listen to this. I'm like, ooh, I feel like I don't even know where I just went the last hour. So I'm excited to re-listen to it and just, yeah, thank you. And thank you for guiding me and having all these amazing questions and regrounding the audience. Very appreciative.
Thanks to everyone for tuning in. Thanks for following us. Thanks for supporting this podcast. Thanks for supporting the people that show up in the podcast. Share it with your friends, share it with your family. It always helps get the word out. We heal as a collective. So the more people hear these messages and these frequencies, the faster we can accelerate change in society. So thanks everyone for tuning in.